G'day guys, welcome to my RXY's feature video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about NRL Round 1 recap preview for 2020 guys, so let's get started. So the first match of that game, we see the Parramatta Eels going up against the Bulldogs. Now this game was absolutely trash. I think the Bulldogs did pretty well in their attack, but for this stage though, what I can say about the Bulldogs, they didn't put up a lot of fight as what the Eels did, but the Eels put up a lot of fight. They thought to themselves very hard, and also for the Bulldogs, they were trying themselves very hard too to score a try, but in the first half they didn't really score a try. But obviously Reed Money has scored one try in the second half for the late one, and then Mitchell Moses obviously scored the penalty goal, and it made it 8-2. So 8-2 was the scoreline of that match, and I'd say that game was absolutely trash. And sorry to say about this one, the Parramatta Eels are just so unique, but sometimes they need to do hard work and they need to put some effort into it, because that game was absolutely horrible. People didn't really like it, and I just say that game was absolutely trash. So sorry I'm being negative here, but it's really hard to say that if you're gonna work on a game, you pretty much have to think about what you would really want to do. So about this game though, things didn't go as planned, but last time they met, Bulldogs defeated the Eels 12-6, so it was just like an enemy clash, so it's like an enemy. I did go for the Eels, and I'm not too sure how many points I scored. I obviously predict. So really about this game though, I just thought Eels did pretty well, but not enough, so that means they can improve very well. So really, Parramatta Eels did really well, and luckily they scored a try for Reed Marnie anyway to make it 8-2, the points scored anyway. The next game of that match, we see the Raiders going up against the Titans. Now this game was absolutely crucial. Titans did really shocking, and I just say that they still need to work very hard, because at the moment though, what I can say about this team is I just think that even though they sometimes score, they don't really work that hard. Bryce Cartwright didn't do much. Brian Kelly didn't do much. The only players that stood out and did do much was Philip Semi and Anthony Don. Anthony Don only scored one try anyway. He is an absolute great player that I like. He's the highlight of that game, and he focuses on what you want to do with the ball. But for the Raiders though, they have plenty of players that they have talented. So I'm just guessing George Williams. George Williams is coming from the England side, and he is just phenomenal. He has that kick and assist, and let's say that anyway, he gets kick and assist right, and how the way you want to actually play with the ball correctly. But Jack Whiten, he did absolutely really well, scored 2 tries in the end, and he was absolutely phenomenal. I really liked how the way that Jack Whiten just scores heaps of tries. Emre Gawler scored 1 too. He's an absolutely great player, number 15 into that interchange squad anyway. And about this game though, I just think that the Raiders are a very good team, but then they don't think about how the way they want to put their possession right. But they did do really well. 24 points to 6 the scoreline was, and I just say that Raiders did really well up against the Titans, and Titans didn't really do much. All they did was they had to focus on the Raiders anyway, because they were putting pressure on the Titans anyway. So 24 points to 6 the scoreline was, and I cannot believe that the Raiders won against the Titans anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Cowboys going up against the Broncos. Now, this game was absolutely very, hard because usually the Cowboys did really well. They were pretty average in the end. They scored a couple of tries, I know for a fact, but Valentine Holmes just came in from the NFL, from USA anyway. So about this one, Cowboys didn't do really well, and I just think for this game, Cowboys didn't really play as hard and strong football as they usually do. But they are struggling a little bit. Valentine Holmes scored one, which he just did absolutely very well. But in the end, though, I didn't really think that Cowboys didn't do really well. It was 28 points to 21 anyway, and I just cannot believe that the Broncos won this game by 7 points, and I just think that the Broncos did really well in the end. I just thought that the Broncos were going to stood very hard, and they obviously did. Jermaine Asako has swapped in for Jack Bird, which I think that is a great decision anyway. And about this one, I just think how the way that this game was absolutely brought into the attack. Broncos thought to themselves very hard. They obviously bring their attacking, what I mean by attacking is attacking game and good quality football game and good quality football match. But about this game though, I just think how the way that Broncos thought to themselves very hard. I'm just going to give them credit. And about this one, okay, I am going to say this, but Darius Boyd did really well, but he just needs to retire. I still think he needs to retire. He's getting to that stage. He's getting very old, and I just think how the way that he is going to go, if he plays for another 2 years, I just think he's going to relapse and collapse every time someone oversteps him and stuff like that. So about that, 28 points to 21, and Broncos won against the Cowboys anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Knights going up against the Warriors. Now, this game was absolutely very, great, but it was pretty average. Knights did really well. I really think that the Knights just played as hard football as they usually do, and they always usually do. But I'm just thinking that Newcastle Knights are a very good team, and going up against the Warriors are a struggling team, and 20 points to nil just thinks that the Warriors need to work very hard for the next match. But really, about this game though, the Warriors didn't really play as much football they usually do. But for the next season, I reckon they're going to fought to themselves very hard. I reckon they're going to have a good mind and say, let's attack, boys. Let's get a try. Let's get a win. And I tell you, they'll probably have a stronger lead anyway for the next match anyway. But let's talk about this match. So Newcastle Knights did very well. Edric Lee is just absolutely a freak. He scored I think 1 or 2 tries. And for this match though, I just think how the way that this game has just brought to themselves very well. Newcastle Knights are a very good team, and I really thought that Tex Hoy was going to be into that squad, but I think maybe into this maybe going up to the season, I just think that Tex Hoy is going to probably get replaced and probably go into the NRL squad anyway. But he is a great signing, and really what I mean by signing is he's gone into that squad. He's probably gone to that Canterbury Cup anyway, and really for this team though, it was just an absolute very hard decision to say Newcastle Knights are a very hard team to beat. But I just think that Heimel Hunt did very well. Edric Lee did very well. Kalen Ponga did very well too. I think he scored a try too, which I think that this game was an absolutely crucial match anyway. But the Newcastle Knights stood well, and they are a very good team anyway. So it was a 20 points to nil win against the Warriors, and Warriors need to do very well for the next season anyway, for the next match. The next game of this match, we see the Rabbitohs going up against the Sharks. Now, this game was an average game, and really for the Sharks, I just think how the way that this game was going to go for the Sharks. They scored 3 tries already, and the one that number 14, I can't remember his name, but he is a former player. They used to play for someone else, but I can't really remember who. But also, this game was an absolutely great game for the Rabbitohs. Rabbitohs are a very good team. They are just hanging on there, and then usually the Sharks were going to get a lead, but then when that forward pass came to Josh Morris or Brett Morris, then I just thought, like, Rabbitohs lost. But then the referee made a decision, and it was a forward pass anyway. So then that means that I reckon that game was a splendouring match for the Rabbitohs. They just held on with the win, 22 points to 18, and that match was an absolute fulfilling match and like a thriller of a game. But Adam Reynolds scored, Ethan Lowe scored, and I think Cameron Murray scored too. I'm not too sure about that, the last one. But anyway, the Sharks are a very good team, and I just thought how the way that this game has brought for the Sharks is a couple of players have left for the Sharks, which Jaden Brayley has left and gone to the Knights. Edric Lee has left and gone to the Knights also too. And I can't think of anyone else, but I just think that the Sharks are going to struggle for this season anyway, and for this year's football. But they just need to get some attack, and they've got good quality players, but still I just think they're going to struggle a little bit. But I reckon they're going to get some wins and some losses anyway. But it was a 22 points to 18 win against the Sharks, and I just think how the way that this game's going to go, I reckon that the Sharks are just going to struggle a little bit. But I reckon the Rabbitohs will they'll stood against, they'll probably win anyway, so I'm just guessing they'll win anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Panthers going up against the Roosters. Now, this game was an absolutely good, cracking match. Panthers are a very good team, and I just think how the way that this game is going to go for their season, I just think how the way that this game is usually a pretty good game. I reckon that they're going to have a great season for this year. Excuse me. But for the Roosters though, they've gotten very edgy. But for this game though, I just think that James Tedesco did really well. Luke Keary did very well. But Mitch Orbison and Siwa Takiaho has scored for the Roosters anyway. And Brent Naden, Viliami Kikau, and I can't remember who else. But yeah, another one scored for them anyway. And it was a 20 points to 14 scoreline up against the Roosters. And I think how the way that this game is usually gone to as planned, I reckon that this game has just gone a very edgy win. But usually the Roosters held themselves to a very good win. But going up against the Panthers, they just put on a lot of show and put on a lot of fight. So about the Panthers though, Brent Naden is a very good player, and sometimes that he scores a couple of tries and then he seals the deal. So then the Panthers are a very good team, and I just think how the way that this game is usually gonna go against other teams, the Panthers are gonna have a very good season, and I just think that they're going to have a great year for football anyway. And I just think they're going to win, they're going to probably stay in the finals, but then I just think that they're going to lose the grand final anyway. But it was a 20 points to 14 win against the Roosters, and I cannot believe the Panthers win against the Roosters anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Manly Sea Eagles going up against the Melbourne Storm. Now, this game was an absolutely crucial match. I don't think that the Manly Sea Eagles just fought to themselves very well. Usually they are a very good team, but this match was just shocking for them, because I thought Manly Sea Eagles were going to usually bring a very entertaining game to the fans, but that game was just shocking for them, and I just don't think that the players just really had a good match. But going up against the Storm, Suliasi Vunivalu scored 2 tries, and Thomas Eisenhuth scored 1. But it was an 18 points to 4 scoreline, and I cannot believe that this match was an absolutely great match for the Melbourne Storm. They were going to win for that game. But really for this game though, I just don't think that the Manly Sea Eagles were going to win that game. Because going up against the Melbourne Storm, they usually have good quality players. But Manly Sea Eagles are a very good team, and I do respect the Manly Sea Eagles, but for this match though, I don't think that if this game was going to go as planned, Manly Sea Eagles don't really play as well as usual. But usually for this game, the Melbourne Storm lost that match 11 points to 10, I think last year. But then it usually goes like for Manly, Storm, Manly, Storm, Manly, Storm, and it usually does that. So for this match, it was basically a hard thing to decide. So I just don't think that the Manly Sea Eagles thought to themselves very well. But really, for the Melbourne Storm, they are a great footy team, and I just think for this game, they've just held themselves very well, and I cannot believe that Suliasi Vunivalu has scored 2 tries, and Thomas Eisenhuth has only scored 1 to make it 18 points to 4 scoreline anyway, against the Manly Sea Eagles anyway. And finally, in the next game of this round, we see the Dragons going up against the West Tigers. Now, this game was just absolutely very cool. I don't think that the Dragons stood to themselves very well, but Zach Lomax and Michaeli Ravalawa has scored 2 tries, and the score was basically 24 points to 14, and I cannot believe that the West Tigers has just played themselves very well. I think that this match was a very good game of football, and really for this game, I just don't think that the Dragons did very well, but I know that 2 tries has done them a very good deal anyway. But for the West Tigers though, usually for this game, I just don't think that they stood their ground. And for this match though, they didn't have like Matt Duffy into that squad. He is a great player. He is a great football player, and for this match though, he's gained a lot of meters and a lot of points and a lot of tries anyway. But if, say for instance, Matt Duffy would have been into that squad, Dragons would have won that anyway. But since he wasn't into that squad, the Dragons have lost that game anyway. But the West Tigers did very well into that attack, and I just think that this game thought to themselves very hard. West Tigers are a very good football team, but these type of tries, Benji Marshall, Luciano Leilua, David Norfoluma, and I think that was it, I'd say, yeah, pretty much. So those players obviously scored heaps of tries, and it just made it 24 points to 14, and I cannot believe that West Tigers have won this match up against the Dragons anyway. Thanks guys for watching this video, guys. Stay tuned for more. I will be doing a couple of videos coming to you guys soon. Also, I'll be doing more videos coming to you guys soon, so stay tuned for more. Plus, leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and for this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care guys, stay safe, and have a good one.